Hey. Time for the Out of This World story from rSpace. Today on rSpace, we dive into the art of calculated revenge. Because why just walk away when you can torch everything on the way out? From playing the long game to making sure she felt every ounce of his wrath, this is the story of a man who didn't just get even, he got gone. She laughed when I found out, so I quietly built my exit plan, disappeared overnight, and left her name on all the overdue bills. My girlfriend is cheating on me. It's crazy. I don't know why I have always felt insulated from the stories that I hear about cheating women. I never went through it in my dating relationships. At least, I don't think that I did. And in my married life, I really thought that I had the perfect woman, and that worrying about infidelity was never going to be a problem of mine. I guess I was wrong. Now I'm wondering about all the things that I might have been wrong about over the course of the marriage. I realize how little I know this woman if I realize how easy it is for her to cheat. It's important to talk about how I found out about this. She got sloppy, that's how. That's part of what makes this hurt even more. If she hadn't gotten sloppy, I wouldn't have known that she was sleeping with this guy for over a year off and on. And here I was thinking that I'm a perceptive person. I'm clearly not if she could have been fooling me all of this time. My friends say that I shouldn't put all the pressure on myself since I'm a pretty busy guy. I see her a lot. Don't take that as if I'm saying that my girlfriend is at home until 2 a.m. I work in finance and it gets busy, but it pays off when I work extra hours. She knows that, and she enjoys the perks of that for a very long time. I mean, I pull into the office because I like the structure of the workplace. But if I really wanted to, I could get everything done at home or on a Caribbean island somewhere. Anyway, it was as easy as her asking to borrow my car one night when I had to travel to another state for some quick business. She asked me right as I had to get off a phone call, so I gave her the go-ahead without even asking why. By the time I came back, I forgot to ask her why she couldn't use her car. I had completely forgotten that she had used mine, at least until I sat in my car. It smelled like perfume that I couldn't identify. It clearly wasn't mine, and I'm a bit of a fraghead. Now, it'd be weird if that was all I needed to say that my girlfriend was cheating, but it definitely let me know that something was off. It was at that point that I casually asked my girlfriend why she had to borrow my car. She didn't seem thrown off by the question and said that she had a flat and didn't want to bother changing it since she had to be off quicker than that. She knows how to change a tire, so I guess that she probably sorted that out when she got back. Before I could even bring up the perfume, she said that she had picked up her friend, Jessica, and they had gone to a cafe that they wanted to try for the longest time. That could have explained the perfume, and for me, that was enough. However, that wasn't the end of her sloppiness. On one of the days that I was chilling at home, I saw a receipt sticking out of her purse. She had left it on the kitchen island, and she was on the patio making a call, so I pulled out the receipt, and it was from a shoe retailer that we had been to a lot of times, in the commercial district. The problem was that the date on the receipt was for that day. I took a picture of it and put it back. Now, I consider myself to be a smart guy, so one of the first things that came to my mind was that she might have bought the shoes to surprise me. My birthday wasn't anytime soon, neither was a promotion, nor an anniversary. I triple-checked. But still, I gave it time, because after 9 years of dating, we started dating fresh out of college, it was really possible that she just wanted to do something nice for me. It was worrying though, since the shoes were very expensive. I gave it 3 weeks and the shoes never turned up. In fact, I checked the house when I was home alone and found no trace of them. I felt like I had to keep waiting to be entirely sure, but I knew she wouldn't buy a gift more than 3 weeks in advance, especially not shoes. I think that was the point that I really started to worry that something was off. She still seemed like the girlfriend I knew though. The final straw was her leaving her phone on the kitchen island and a call coming in from Baxter. I normally could have assumed that it was anyone from work or anywhere she might have frequented, but the way she snatched the phone off the table and then nervously said, "Work call," let me know that something was off. At that point, there was more than enough on the table for me to make a conclusion. I knew I had to start investigating what was going on. One night, when I was asleep, I logged into her laptop and checked her emails, checked her messages, and checked the images backed up on her cloud storage. The messages were the easiest to go through since all I had to do was look for Baxter, and when in that conversation, I found everything I was looking for. There were a lot of messages. It was well over a year of talking, and even near the very start, there was a lot of flirtation and sexting. It was super clear that these were two people who were being intimate. I didn't know at the time, but after exporting the chat and reading it later that week, I found out that they had met up at hotels and at his house on multiple occasions. They had even met at our place a few times when I was out of town. I instantly hated her. I know that I had been in love with her for almost a decade, but it didn't take long for the resentment to hit. I hate betrayal and I hate liars. There was no need for her to explain anything. However, I wanted to make sure that I had everything I needed to confront her, so I hired a PI the next day. I I needed to get actual photos of her cheating. I also wanted to make sure I knew exactly who Baxter was. The next several weeks were very rough for me. I had to keep acting like I cared about her when I knew I wanted nothing to do with her. I needed her to be on the opposite side of the country for me to be happy again. But I persisted through the entire thing. And when the PI finally got me everything I paid him for, I found out that Baxter was a graduate student in the city's university, and that she had met him about 6 times during the period I paid for the PI. It was crazy to me. She was cheating indiscriminately, and it was possible that I might not have known anything. Now that I have all of this, I'm going to confront her, and I'm sure it isn't going to be pretty. I'll let you all know how it goes now that I've gotten this far with it. I think it's normal to question everything now. When you trust someone that deeply, you don't expect them to be capable of this, and it shakes your whole foundation. But don't blame yourself for not noticing sooner. You were in a relationship where you thought you both were on the same team. You weren't supposed to have to be on the lookout for lies and red flags. That's on her, not you. Update 1. Just yesterday, I posted about my girlfriend who had been cheating on me with some graduate student named Baxter. I had a PI catch her in the act, and with all the evidence that I had, I decided to confront her literally hours after pressing send on my previous post. I never could have predicted the way that it was going to go. I needed the photos and info I had gotten from the PI as a trump card, so all I did was confront her verbally. I walked up on her when she was watching TV and switched it off. She looked annoyed, and before she could even say anything, I asked her why she was cheating on me. The first thing she did was look confused. Cheating on you? What are you talking about? I told her to cut the BS and tell the truth. I let her know that I knew for a fact that she was cheating on me and that she had been for a long time. She shook her head, but I was getting exasperated, so I just asked her to tell me about Baxter. I think that was what I had to say for her to know that I wasn't just bluffing. The craziest part was that she looked at me and she just laughed. I swear I couldn't believe it. I still can't. She thought it was funny, and then she said, "And so what? What are you going to do?" I hate to admit it. I really do. But I had the strongest urge to throttle someone that I've ever had in my life. I wanted to hurt her. The laughter sent me over the edge. Somehow, I stopped myself from even taking a step toward her. I told her she was crazy, cursed her out, and I can't remember what else I must have said, but the lack of remorse was driving me crazy. According to her, it was my fault. I was never at home. I sucked in bed. I had a small member. Baxter was so much better than me, and all of that. Genuinely, she was a lot more level-headed than this on ordinary days, and it seemed like getting caught, she just decided to go nuclear with the whole thing. She said, "People cheat," and that it was entirely physical. She said she didn't regret it, and that we might as well open the relationship so that I can go and sleep with other people too. But she said I wasn't going to leave her, and she knew that for a fact. Here's the thing. I understand where she got that notion. Back when we met, I was almost a different person. I wasn't confident. I didn't groom myself well. I struggled to have great conversations with women. But she liked me and I liked her too. I couldn't believe my luck. Yet over the years, as I climbed the career ladder and earned more, I became a lot more confident and a lot more attractive, and I long stopped seeing myself as out of her league. Yet, it seemed that she had been holding on to that image of me and must have thought I'd never leave because of that. At this point, I don't know what to do. I still want to hurt her badly, so I packed up and went to a hotel. But I want to hit her where it hurts, like badly. I want her to feel more pain than she has ever felt. I don't know how to do it, but I'm willing to do a lot more to make that happen. I'll figure it out. Update 3. I genuinely can't believe that it has been 4 months since my last post. I'm really sorry for keeping you all on the kind of cliffhanger. Reading my posts again, I can see how poorly that story ends and how frustrating it must have been to read. The good thing is that I'm here with the final update, and it is a lot of fun, I'm sure. After staying in the hotel for about 2 weeks, I finally decided that I was going to blow up her life. I wanted to ruin it all, but the sad part was that for my plan to work, I had to be back with her. So I did that. I came back to her and told her that I forgave her and that we could make things work. She gave a very half-assed apology, but we made up, and that was it. From that very first day, I started getting things done. The first thing I knew was that, since we weren't married, I didn't need to worry about assets being split. Yet, somehow I wanted her to end up with nothing. On almost everything that we financed, we're co-signatories for each other. The house is the biggest expense, followed by the cars. I knew that if I was unable to pay for those, the bank would come for her instead. She was also on the papers. The only problem was that it'd be hard for me to remove myself from the equation so easily. Now, I work in finance. I know ways to creatively store your money. I know the accounts and assets that are best for that. And so, over the months that I spent with this woman, I started to empty out my accounts and divert a lot of my assets into other destinations that weren't liquid. I considered traveling to Florida and starting a new life there, but for some reason, it just wasn't enough for me. I needed more than that. My family's origins are in Asia, and to be completely honest, I realized it wasn't a bad time for me to retire and start a business over there. Trust me when I say I had more than enough to get that done. It felt a kind of way, potentially leaving everything that I had built up behind, but instead of looking at it like leaving everything I knew in the past, I chose to see it as a new beginning, spurred on by a cheating girlfriend. I booked my tickets, I told the necessary relatives when I'd be coming, and I stored a whole bunch of money in crypto so that it'd be easily accessible the moment I landed. This is me simplifying the entire process, but it took a lot of paperwork for me to make it as airtight as it eventually was. I did all of that until it was time for me to get going. The day before I left, I went to a copy shop and made copies of all the cheating photos the PI had taken. I also printed and copied some select screenshots from her conversation. Finally, I typed out a little explanation of what she had done, printed it, and copied that. Then I slid all of those into envelopes. I had basically made it into packets for all the people I wanted to expose her to. The next morning, before I went to the airport, I mailed every single one of those packets to people in her life, her family, friends, and even her boss. To be clear, I did that specifically for her boss because during my whole planning phase, I searched up Baxter and tried to see if I could find a way to take revenge on him. His LinkedIn showed that he had been an intern at her workplace about 2 years prior. I had no idea that was how they had met. I hope that the earliest screenshots would have been able to suggest to her workplace that she might have been in an inappropriate relationship with him even back then. If I could make her lose her job, that'd be a bonus win, but I wasn't counting on it. Then, I was off to the airport. In the car, I told her that I'd be working late and I probably wouldn't come home that night. She didn't have much of an issue with that, which obviously wasn't a surprise to me. Almost a full day later, I landed in my home country, and a family member was there to receive me. Just like that, I had basically packed up my whole life and gone to another country. 2 days later, she was messaging my social media account like crazy. She couldn't reach me, and she was starting to lose it. Just to let her know that I wasn't dead or anything, I sent a message to tell her that I was fine. It was days later that I responded to one of her messages and told her I was done and wouldn't be coming back. I let her know that we were done. She asked a bunch of questions and I just left her unread. The funny part was when she messaged me frantically, talking about the loans I left behind. At that point, it was fun to reply. I told her that she'd have to handle them and that there was a reason why she was the co-signer. She could take care of things. My accounts were basically empty, so while a few payments must have come out to take care of some of those loans, once things dried up, it fell on her to handle it. She said she let my car get repoed, and I'm sure she thought that had hurt me, but I told her it was fine. She wouldn't let her car get repoed, and she would definitely not be able to handle the mortgage payments for long. It was going to end in foreclosure. It hasn't yet, but I'm not going to wait for that point before I write this. Oh, and apparently, she was suspended and investigated at work because of her suspected abuse of power. They wanted to find out if anyone else in the workplace could have potentially felt threatened into an intimate relationship with her. She didn't tell me how that ended for obvious reasons, but I took it as a win in my book, whether it ended with her being fired or not. I think the cherry on top was her brother sending me a message cursing me out and telling me to come back home and fix your mess, because her sister was crashing out and losing her marbles. I didn't mind that. They had no idea that I was out of their range, so I wasn't planning to come back for any reason. And that's it. A new life for me in my home country isn't bad. I have most of my money in other forms, and a lot of the business knowledge I had been using was still intact anywhere in the world. Nothing was going to stop me from taking stocks in Asia, and I can live even more lavishly here, so hey, silver lining. She went from smug and laughing in your face to losing her job, drowning in debt, and probably questioning every life choice she's ever made. And that's the way it's supposed to be. The fact that she really believed you'd stick around no matter what is actually wild. She saw you as the same insecure guy from years ago, not realizing you had leveled up in every possible way. The financial hit alone is brutal. Car repossessed, mortgage on the verge of foreclosure, loans piling up. It's beautiful. Do you think OP's revenge was justified, or did he take it too far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.